Last time on Square Roots, we go Rick Grimes on some zombies, solve the riddle of the closed door, and hang out with Mr. Saturn. That's right, just let it hang. Let it all hang out. Dangle. Mr. Saturn is balls.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by Matthew Van Zant.
Heyo.
John Department Store Cthulhu Monster Brandon.
Hello. I'm a department store Cthulhu monster.
And in just a few moments, Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
And this is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs, one chunker at a time. And we're playing EarthBound.
Ooh. It's
Yeah.
like a let's play for your ear holes.
Yeah.
Bind me, Mommy Gaia.
I guess we're like 4 episodes
What?
into...
Tie me down, Mommy Gaia.
This is episode 4 in our EarthBound series, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to start from the start, if you have an iTunes podcast app, you can like go beginning of season
John, don't
21,
condescend to our
or you
listeners.
can just look at the episode number.
They understand how fucking they understand how this works.
All right. I'm just saying.
You're saying that if I play episode 4 first, I won't understand it.
If this is episode 4, where do I start? So if this is your first time listening to this podcast, what we normally do before we get into talking about this chunker of the game, which, by the way, we're playing from the Dusty Dunes Desert to the introduction of Pooh. What we usually do before we get into it is talk about how we may or may not have leveled up this past week.
Ooh.
John, you sound like you might have something juicy to talk
Oh,
about.
sure. I always do. I leveled up in 2 ways. Number 1, I leveled up having boogers in my head with a bad head cold. So I might be a little sniffly and snuffly. I believe Matt is as well. Is that...
No, I feel great.
Sure. And I noticed you're not vaping, which usually means you're sick.
No, I'm just charging a dog.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
worry.
Also, I saw a film. This
Which film?
film is called Us by Jordan Peele.
Did you like it?
Yes, I thought it was good. And hearing other people talk about it was really interesting because I didn't quite get the metaphor they were going for. And just there's one reading of the metaphor which I thought was really brilliant. And something I'd love to talk about off air because I don't want to spoil this for anybody. But there's a character that talks really weird, and I was trying to think of how that character talked like that. I think it might be that they were breathing in while delivering the lines.
That's a really interesting...
It's a really interesting
Can you demonstrate?
way of talking.
Is that what they sounded like?
I'm not gonna
That's what
spoil
one of the
it.
characters sounds like.
Yeah, it's a weird way to talk, and it hurts your head. But it might not be.
I can whistle while inhaling. That's my talent.
There's but it's a good film. It was not as scary as I thought it would be, or as gory, except for that one scene that's pretty gory.
I agree with you, John.
So it's more fun. It like I really like fun horror movies. I think that's like my favorite genre is like horror movies that give you a bit of a spook and a bit of a laugh and a bit of an adventure. And this is one of those. So, yeah. It's like, imagine if Monster Squad wasn't, like, super homophobic and shitty.
Monster Squad is so homophobic and shitty.
Yeah,
I
and
still
also
loved
the
it,
acting is really bad in it.
I mean, I
I
still
loved it as a child.
I still love Bill and Ted's, and sometimes you just have to take the good.
Is Bill and Ted? Does they have a
You
lot of
take the
homophobic
bad.
stuff? I
They
don't-
drop in each movie. They drop one homophobic slur, and it lands like an A bomb in the script.
So, are you more of a bogus
I bet they don't
journeyman
bring
or
that back for 3.
excellent adventure man?
Sorry, what
Are
did
you
say,
more
John?
of a bogus journeyman or excellent adventure man?
You know, I saw Bogus Journey first, so I feel like I'm by default I'm a Bogus Journey
I think
guy.
Bogus Journey is
I think I'm a bogus
smarter
journey guy too,
movie.
just because it's you got all that crazy stuff with death.
Yeah.
It feels more like a Terry Pratchett
Yeah.
script and less like a I don't know SNL skit.
Yeah. So strongly recommend going back and watching Bill and Ted. Just be prepared for a couple of the other F-bombs sneaking up on you. It's
There's one. I think there's only one in each movie, but it just like it destroys the movie almost, especially in the second one.
also I just rewatched Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, which I'm watching for Kill by Kill. So stay tuned for that next.
That is the
Ooh,
very
you gonna be on Kill by Kill?
unsubtly.
Yeah.
That's a very unsubtly gay one, isn't it, John?
It's extremely gay.
It's super
It's
gay.
extremely gay.
John, that would segue nicely into my level up.
Oh, well, Matthew, how did you level up?
John, I did a guest spot on podcast.
Ooh, Joe Rogan.
Do you know what do you want to guess? I would like you all to guess what podcast it was.
Joe Rogan.
No, not Joe Rogan.
Ultra 64.
Jim, what's your guess?
Joe Rogan.
I did a guest spot on an episode of our good friend Dr. Steve Stone's podcast, They See Me Rollin'.
Ooh.
And I play an eccentric character who is very bizarre and has a bad accent. And it's really entertaining and fun, and I think that you'll enjoy it. So, friends, listeners, patrons,
Countrymen.
countrymen, women, children first, go listen to that episode of They See Me Rollin'. How about you, Jim? How did you level up?
I was the best man in a wedding.
What?
Even better than the groom?
Jim,
Yes.
we agreed not to tell anyone that I got married.
It was really weird because it was like it was in Far East Texas in like this little tiny town, and it was the most
that's where I'm from.
most unorganized wedding I've ever been a part of. Like during the rehearsal, they didn't really rehearse anything. They just told people where to stand. Like during the ceremony, but nobody talked about how to get to where you're supposed to be standing or what to do once the ceremony is over.
So that's not how a rehearsal works.
So like when the wedding started, the music started, and my brother, who was the groom, just started walking up to the spot up front where he was going to be standing, and I like right before they left, I was like, "What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to follow you?" And they're like, "I guess." So I was like, I stood there for
you
a
wait
second.
until he gets there and then you go. It's not complicated, dipshit.
That's not what they told me to do. So I
You escorted
I
him
stood
down
there
the
for a
aisle
second.
like you were his dad?
Pretty much. I just
Oh my
walked behind
God.
him like I was like carrying his like train. But right before I walked down there, I looked over at Meredith, my girlfriend, and I just like threw my hands up and I was like, I guess I'm gonna go now. And so I went, and then I just stood up there, and it lasted like 10 minutes.
Oh.
They had a taco bar for
I love
their catering, which was
tacos.
good.
I had
And then
pasta bar
I left
at
the
my
wedding. I left the wedding a little bit early to go take a nap, and then I hung out at my brother's house after, and we ate crawfish.
Ooh. So is East Texas like King of the Hill?
No, East Texas is like West Louisiana.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Deep East Texas is West Louisiana.
Yeah.
Wow. There's swamps?
No, I mean it's very like in most of Texas there are no like I mean, there are trees, but not like pine tree kind of trees. And then
That's
in East,
false.
no, it's not. And then in East Texas, it's like it's tree town. There's tons of trees, and it's really humid, and there's lots of like ponds and lakes and stuff.
Yep, that's true. I'm from them there parts.
Yep.
Yep.
And I bought these crawfish from a crawfish stand on the side of the road.
You didn't go pluck them out of the river yourself?
No, these people did it for me. And boy, were these people racist.
Oh no!
Almost to the point where I did not want to buy the crawfish. Like, Meredith and I looked at each other because this lady dropped a slur, and we're just like, should we leave?
Yeah, you probably should have, actually.
It was really awkward.
Wow.
Yeah. Yikes.
Yeah, that's always... Listen, I get that this is maybe like a white person problem, but like, it's happened to me before, like where I'm at a bar and somebody I know walks up and starts talking and then just starts dropping slurs, and you're like, what the fuck is happening right now? Stop it. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're paralyzed. Like, I want to like yell at you and hit you, but also like never speak to you again, but also like I don't want to embarrass myself.
Or like, you kind of don't want to embarrass the other person either, because it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Anyways, it was awkward. The crawfish they were fine.
Crawfish are,
Are they like? Is
We
it like
ate
a
them.
prawn?
you can make them real good. Yes.
Yeah, it's like a prawn.
Okay.
We ate them so we ordered 10 pounds of them, and then they just give you it in like a Walmart bag. And so we put the Walmart bag in a cooler, and we were just eating these crawfish out of the cooler. And by the time we were done,
you
it
didn't
looked
cook
like
'em?
No, they were already cooked. They cooked them for us.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's not fun.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
you
I
didn't
took
have
it
like a crawfish boil.
No, we bought the crawfish prepared from the roadside stand.
And they came in like
but-
Walmart bags?
Yeah, they give you like these cooked crawfish in Walmart bags.
What the fuck?
And then we ate them, and by the time we were done, the inside of this cooler looked like a mass. It looked like somebody had been killed in there. It was just dead crawfish bodies and juice and probably a bunch of crawfish poop in there, because they have poop in them still.
Oh, is that the like strings you have to take out?
Yeah, the little like poop vein you have to pull out.
Oh.
Aren't you supposed to do that with shrimp too?
If they're not already deveined, yes. Oh, Vanessa's here. Hey, Vanessa.
I got fever. I got Star Wars fever.
Oh no.
Vanessa had the most, I think, visceral reaction to this new Star Wars trailer of anybody I know, and everybody I know is a huge fucking nerd.
Y'all don't understand. Okay, let me set the scene. The year is 2000, I don't remember, 8, 9, something like that.
2000 and late.
The year is sometime in the 2000s. The place, New York City.
New York City?
The something or other theater. I go to see me a play. I go to see me a play called Faith Healer. Faith Healer has 3 people in it, and only 3. And those people are Rafe Fiennes,
Ooh.
Cherry Jones,
Okay.
and Ian McDiarmid. That's right. Mr. Excellence himself, Sheev Palpatine, Ian McDiarmid.
Sheev Palpatine.
That's his name.
I know. It's just weird
Is it?
to hear it.
Yeah, Sheev.
Oh, that's what Vanessa was going on about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, you and I had, I think, a similar experience. So, and I'll tell mine when Vanessa's done. I think it's funny when she heard the news, how I heard the news.
So, yeah, it was one of the top 5 performances I've ever seen on stage. He was so good, and the way the show is structured is it's just a series of monologues. So he's on stage for, 45 minutes by himself doing this monologue, and it was just so compelling and so wonderful, and he won the Tony that year for that performance, beating out, fun fact, Domhnall Gleeson, and also Mark Ruffalo.
Oh.
Ooh.
They were
Ruffalo
all up for
Buffalo.
Best Supporting Actor, and the Emperor took it, as well he should. So, I love him. Like, he's great. He's a great actor. I like the character of Sheev Palpatine, although I have only seen the prequels, I think, just the once in the theater. But I was so excited about and I guess I should talk about why I'm talking about Sheev Palpatine. So I was watching the live stream, and this new trailer drops, and everyone who was, like, in the presentations off the stage watched the trailer. It's great. And then at the end, we get just a little chuckle, just a little chortly-chortle. And the lights come back up, and who should be standing on stage but Ian McDermott himself, Mr.
What? He was on
Faith
stage?
Healer. He was. So, like, the lights rise, and he's just standing there all by himself, and he just grins at the audience, and then he's like, roll it again. And they played the trailer again.
So he's like legit in the movie?
Well, nobody knows, Jim.
Well, if he was there, that's kind of like a pseudo confirmation, right?
And there's
It's
a
a-
line that things don't die, right?
Yeah, Luke
Yeah.
says, like, in his voiceover, no one's ever truly gone. And then you hear the, like, good. So I am, like, I was already on board. Like, I was never off board the Star Destroyer for Star Wars. But now I'm, like, full on board in the command center, ready to slam my hand down on that Death Star Ray button and blow up Alderaan. I am so excited for this movie.
I'm glad it affected you so positively.
It sure did. Now, did y'all watch this teaser trailer?
Yeah, we watched it at the office. I learned there was a new trailer because Vanessa was talking about things, and it was very incomprehensible and talking about the rise of Skywalker. And eventually I pieced it through context clues that there was a new trailer out. So I watched it at the office with a couple of my coworkers, and then at the end when Palpatine laughed, I was like, I think that's Palpatine. Palpatine.
I believe that my exact words were Skywalker, Skywalker, Sheev, I got the fever, I got the Star Wars fever, and you figured out what I meant.
I did eventually. It was a fun trailer. I'm going to try and not get too worried about spoilers and stuff, although I do have all these words muted on Twitter because Twitter is not the place you want to read about Star Wars right now.
No,
Or
it's
YouTube.
not.
Or Reddit.
Or
Facebook.
anywhere. Gee golly. So I have my personal social media feed is very, very curated to keep me in my happy SJW warrior bubble. And I love it. And that's the way I want to live my life. But I accidentally looked at some comments on Kotaku and Polygon, and man, people sure hate Star Wars.
Uh-huh.
Mostly men. They hate it. I don't know why they can't just chill about it. It's okay, you don't like it. Not everyone likes everything. But they're like, Star Wars is dead to me. It's I see a movie I don't like. I'm not oh, Creed is dead to me. I'm just that's not my thing. I'm not into it.
I mean,
So-
there's been, even if you didn't like The Last Jedi, there have been far worse Star Wars films than The Last Jedi, and which I thought was good.
Absolutely.
But even imagining it wasn't very good, The Phantom Menace, and then Attack of the Clones, and then that last one, which I think is still, we've talked about this before, the worst Star Wars movie is, was it Revenge of the Sith?
I have no idea.
That was the worst Star Wars movie, for sure.
I mean, I had Star Wars posters in my room when I was a kid. I had all 3 of them. And I had all 3 Indiana Jones posters because I'm a nerd.
Wow, you had a big room.
And I actually had 2 rooms, but let's not get into that. Look, you think that my desire for the own wing of a house comes from nothing? No. We always want to return to childhood.
I shared a room with Allison Brandon, and she had lots of cutout things of Kirk Cameron and Chad Allen and stuff. It was really fun.
Nice, and that's why you love Left Behind today.
Exactly. Is Chad Allen still alive?
I have no idea. I don't even know who that is.
He was in Dr. Quinn, and what was the show with? Is Our House the one with Wilford
He
Brimley?
was in Our House and My Two Dads.
I didn't watch that stuff. So, my point is, I like Star Wars very much, and I understand going to see a Star Wars movie and not liking it because it happened to me 3 times. It happened to me with all of the prequel movies. And
yes.
Each one, I'm like, wow, this is even worse than the last one. This sucks. But I don't go around yelling about how Star Wars is dead to me. I still enjoy the original trilogy and KOTOR and stuff like that. And I really like the next ones. And that's just how it is. So everybody just calm down. It's fine.
I think The Matrix 1 is still good, even if 2 and 3 are not.
Exactly.
2 starts out okay and then gets really bad. And 3 is just wall-to-wall bad.
Yeah.
From the window to the wall till the sweat drops down my balls.
Gross. Anyway, I like Star Wars. I love Sheev. Matt, what do you have to say about this?
So here's a fun connection that we could talk about briefly. Disney Plus got announced. It's been announced, but the details got announced. Part of what's going to be on Disney Plus is going to be the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. And I'm excited to get to finally stream those goddamn movies. I hope that the original version of the original trilogy is what we get.
I think if they were smart,
with buying Fox, Disney solved the whole problem of not being able to release the original version of A New Hope.
Oh, interesting. Because I
Fox,
know Lucas has sworn up and down it will never happen.
Yeah, but that
Matthew, I put a lot of time into those movies.
that was
to add
because
the CGI
Fox
in there.
owned part of the
get out of here,
rights.
George
Whatever. It's not worth
Lucas.
getting into the details. There was a lot of bullshit involved, but now that it's all, now that Fox has purchased Disney, anyway, I'm excited to speak to your point, Vanessa. I'm kind of excited to watch the prequel trilogy with my kids. We've watched the originals several times and the new ones as well. So I feel like it's been long enough that I can expose them to the prequels without it tainting their love for the good Star Wars.
Have you heard of the Topher Grace edits? Apparently they're pretty fun.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna.
Didn't he edit all 6 movies into, or all three movies into one movie?
Yeah. And he said, and apparently it's pretty good. It's like
I'd
the
like to
best
watch it for
will
myself, but I'm excited to be able to watch these movies with my kids. I'm not going to show them some weird edit that they'll grow up and be like, "What did I see?" Everybody else says there's 3 Star Wars prequels, but I saw 1. But I saw everything. I know the whole plot. Father, what have you
That guy
done?
needs to get a fucking job. Somebody give that guy an acting job so he can stop recutting movies.
He was just
He's got a podcast now.
Yeah, he was just on the latest How Did This Get Made, and he was very pleasantly entertaining.
Huh.
Yeah.
You know what I did? I had not seen these prequels for a goodly long time, as I've said 8 times now, but I really want to drive this point home. So I went on the YouTube, and I was like, I wonder if there's a supercut of Sheev Palpatine and all his scenes from the prequels, and of course there is.
Of course there is.
So I watched that. I loved his performance. He's great, but man, those movies look like crap.
Yeah.
They just look terrible.
Yeah.
The costuming is good, and that is the only visually pleasing element to it.
Can I
I
ask a
liked the
question?
set design of the Naboo Palace, and I liked the design of that city in the beginning of Attack of the Clones, but I don't remember what city it was.
Hollywood friends, are haircuts part of costuming?
Yeah, I guess so.
Or is that
the
makeup?
haircuts are awful.
No, that is part of HMU, hair and makeup. That's a
Okay.
different unit.
So then I'm
than
not going to
costuming.
argue with Vanessa's point that the costume, because I do agree that the costumes look great. But
Yeah.
so then the makeup is bad because them haircuts is bad.
Hey, those rat tails were pretty cool.
Oh, he
always
made
wanted
him
to have
fucking
one
have
like
rat
that.
tails, and then he made like a significance for it in canon so that they would have an excuse to have rat tails. Fuck you, George. All right, one last thing to add before we bail out on this. I thought it was pretty funny. So here I am on Friday. My Outlook has crashed. It's been down for an hour. I'm in IT, talking to the IT guy, trying to get him to fix my system. He remotely logs into my system, and I'm standing behind him as he opens it up, and the first thing that happens is my notification for Google Hangouts pops up, and it's like, Ian McDermott! Sheev! And he just keeps like closing it out, but kind of side-eyeing me like, what's happening over here? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
At least I didn't send you another shirtless picture.
All right. Well, we've gone a little long on the level up.
Are we at this point ready to call our dads?
Call your dad, Jim.
Let's call our fathers.
Call your
Beep,
dad
beep, beep.
square on the lips. Wait.
Let's talk to our dads about the Dusty Dunes Desert, shall we?
This is the part where
Take
John
your
inserts
father
like
out
nice
all
music,
night.
and I like to drop like a nice fart noise or something just to differentiate between the segments. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome for that.
You know, having the music kind of helps too for people who like skip the level up. When they
I know.
hit the music, they're like, "Oh, we can start it."
Such a
People
thing.
do that.
Skip the level up.
there's
That's our
one
most
podcast
I mean, I've
series-
suggested that we cut the level out entirely, but nobody liked that idea.
We like
John
talking about
is
ourselves.
glaring at me in rage.
Look, every week I sit around at home alone in my room and I'm like, I wonder what my good friends Jim and John and Matt are doing. And I know that I have to wait until we record to find out, and it's wonderful.
No, we all talk pretty much
I
constantly.
know. I have a longer running conversation with the three of you than I do with like my wife, ex-wife.
Well,
Still,
the only problem is that you all talk constantly from about 6 a.m. my time to about 10 a.m. my time, and then you kind of stop talking when I wake up because
Yep.
I work nights.
yep. It's a bummer. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you wouldn't believe how many empty fucking messages there are of just strains of, where's John? I don't know. Where's John? Where's John?
What's going on?
It's noon. He's asleep, you fucking idiots. So, where did we leave off last week?
We
got
have arrived
poo.
in the Dusty Dunes Desert, and our bus is stuck in a traffic jam. Because a herd of buffalo are crossing the road,
right.
and the cars cannot continue. So we have to get out and subject ourselves to the harsh desert sun.
This is pretty irresponsible. This bus driver talks about how it's not his job to get around traffic jams, but just dropping off 3 unaccompanied minors in the middle of a desert.
He's not
That's
responsible
not
for them.
cool.
They bought their bus ticket.
You know, the thing about traffic jams is that they eventually ease. So why couldn't they just stay on the bus?
Yeah.
I-
like, if I
aren't
buy
you
a
given
bus
the option?
ticket to somewhere.
No.
No.
Oh.
But
You have
the
to
bus
get out
turns
and
around
roam through the
leaves.
desert and fight snakes and buffalo.
Yeah,
I
the driver's
found-
like, fuck this.
All right. So here's my chance to come clean with our listeners. At this point in the game, I have tapped into the power of Andraste
And just
to help me get through some of the harder parts of this game, which is to say, all my characters level 99. So this was a pretty easy area. In fact, they all were.
Vanessa gets stuck in an area here for a while.
I did. I was stuck for so long. I'll talk about it when we get to it.
So
So we're supposed to run through the desert to like get around the traffic jam. But on the way there, you can run into a couple NPCs. There's a couple sunbathers.
Yeah,
Yep.
those guys are weird.
perverts, I would call them.
Did you guys run in? There's a little black speck in the desert, like to the
Yes.
north. And what is the meaning of that? I didn't understand it. It sounds something like a black opal or something.
No, it's a seed, isn't it? I think it's like a like some kind of seed, and it's looking for a peppercorn or something. It's looking for a white one. And
is there a white one?
I think in a different desert, maybe.
I'm getting a lot. I
didn't get that at all.
I'm getting a lot of Step Brothers vibes right now, guys. Did somebody travel 500 miles to bring you this seed?
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, it's actually good.
It's one of my very favorite
is it?
comedies.
Yeah, I agree with Matt on this. It's pretty funny.
I traveled 500 miles to bring you my seed.
We could do activities.
It works because at the end, where most of that era of movies with those comedians kind of tapered off into a resolution to kind of the romantic subplot of the movie, in Step Brothers, it doesn't have that, so it just kind of goes fucking wild at the end.
Yeah, I also found a contact lens, but I haven't found the lady who was looking for it yet.
Oh, I found it. Well, sort of.
I needed
found a
that
man.
contact lens.
Oh, wait, was it a man? I always thought it was a lady's contact lens.
It says it's a lady's contact lens, but I gave it to a man.
Oh.
He was like, yeah, she's not here, but I'll take this.
Weird.
And then in return, he gave me a pair of dirty socks.
Oh. Well, that's... Is that good?
It reminded me of that girl in Rogue Galaxy who would wipe her butt with the sock and then
Oh,
throw it
God,
at
that
the
was
enemies.
the worst. So this desert
there's also,
is all snakes, and there's like a monkey hole, and there's a drugstore, and there's a big sign, I believe, right at the beginning of the level entrance to the area that just says drugs.
Yes.
Yeah, drugs.
Wow. The monkey hole, I went into the monkey hole, and there was a Tala Rama, who was like some kind of, what's the word? Not a shaman. Like a
Guru.
A
He's
guru.
like a mystic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was busy meditating, so he couldn't talk to me. There's also those miners, and one guy asked for food, and I gave him a whole pizza, and he was real happy with me. He says, like, hey, I'll give you all the gold we get for you giving me that pizza. And I'm like, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be and it could not be. If he finds no gold, then it's a bad deal. But if he finds even a little gold, it's probably a good deal.
What's funny is they don't find any.
Oh, well,
That's
we'll
true.
get there.
Yeah.
There's also the brothers, the Slot brothers.
Yeah, what's with that?
We'll talk about that. It's a mini game.
Oh, you kept saying that we wouldn't have one in this game, and yet here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, so I guess we'll just go to the city. We'll go to Foursome.
Fourside.
Oh, right.
Fourside seems like a nice town.
Yeah, real big.
There's a department store you can't get into.
There's another theater.
There's
Another theater.
a cafe.
A cafe. There's a hospital with a very confident doctor.
There's taxi cabs that want to run you over.
Yeah, I had to fight a taxi cab.
What are the enemies in this area?
Finally, I could do my childhood wish of killing the taxi cab for Roger Rabbit.
Why did you want to kill the taxi cab and
I'm
run around?
joking. I love that taxi cab.
Is it because he was smoking?
Probably.
John hates smokers.
Wait, but I used to smoke.
You hated yourself.
Self-hatred, bud.
It's true. So there's not a lot you can do in this town because, like, the cafe, everyone's like just real drugged up on their espressos.
Mm-hmm. You go speak. If you speak to a few of the NPCs, they make a mention of the what's the name of the band? The Blues Brothers.
The Runaway
knockoff?
Five.
The Runaway Five at the theater.
And people talk a lot about Mr. Monorail.
Monotoli.
Monorail.
Monotoli.
Monotoli.
Yeah, it's Mr. Monotoli.
I did go into his office and hopped into the elevator, and Porky's living there.
Pokey.
Yeah, he's in the penthouse, and he kicks you right the heck out.
I don't know why
Yeah,
that
just like-
lady. That lady is assuming we're looking at her hips on that
Yes,
elevator ride.
she's like, don't stand behind me and look at my hips.
I mean, I guess, like sexual harassment happens every day, and you can't, and to the point where it's easy to assume that you are going to harass her, I guess.
And you can put this in your book of Vanessa facts, the listeners who are compiling that. I have a elevator at my office that I take every day that I work, and never once has it occurred to me that someone might be staring at my hips, but I guess now I have to be on guard.
Well, maybe they just want to get truth from you, and they know that hips don't lie. So,
It's true.
Oh,
My
Vanessa,
hips don't.
why wasn't your level up that you flossed?
I think I've already talked about
I don't
flossing
think
on
you
this
have
podcast.
not.
Last Friday or something.
Yeah, there's
That's
no way
true.
you could have talked about flossing.
I remember her bringing it up too.
I brought up that I was practicing, and my practice paid off this weekend, or last Friday. Yeah, so I was at a friend's apartment. We were just having like a board game night, and there was, I think it's called Jameson.
Mommy drinks?
Jameson's
Jameson
more of a
Irish
daddy
whiskey.
drink. Yeah, that's what it was. I put it in a cup with some ice cubes. I thought it was just a few fingers, but then someone pointed out that if you put it in like a regular drinking glass, that's more than a few fingers. So
A few fingers
know.
is still a lot of whiskey, particularly
One
for
thing-
a Vanessa.
one thing led to another, and I was banished to the balcony, and I had to floss my way back in. So I began furiously doing my flossing dance, and unbeknownst to me, it was filmed.
She also yelled, "I'm backpack kid."
Yep. I'm Backpack Kid. I sure did. And then I flossed my way back into the apartment, and all was well with the world.
That's great.
It was
Good
great.
for you.
Was it
You know
this
what?
friend who you constantly like harass and make fun of? That
Doesn't she always
did
take
this?
pictures of this friend when this friend is in distress instead of helping
Yes.
this friend?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. So you might be thinking perhaps this was just fair play turnabout.
Yes.
Well, maybe it was. And now it's been viewed hundreds of times on the internet. And my friend who posted it was like, I am never tagging you in anything again. I'm getting notifications all day about people watching this stupid flossing video and liking it. But I'm sorry, I can't help it if I'm so good at flossing.
So what were we talking about? Pokey is around. The Runaway Five are $1 million
He's a jerk.
in debt, and you have to go meet Mr. Monorail.
Well, you meet Mr. You went. There's you
No.
can't meet Mr. Monotoli yet. You
And
meet
he's
Pokey.
like-
He
you
just
fo-
makes fun of you.
So the Runaway Five say that you learn from the theater manager that they are in debt to the tune of $1 million.
Do they have a
How?
drug habit or what?
Yeah,
don't know.
it's like, how did they? Are they entering into these contracts of like, oh yeah, you can play here for $1 million, but then once you like pay us back, then you can keep the profit. And they're like, that seems like a good deal,
Oh yeah.
but it's not a good deal.
Oh, they're just bad with money. I think.
Yeah, because then like the owners are like, oh, we're only charging like a few bucks for the tickets, and then they make all their money on drinks and things, and the band is like, well, can't we count that towards our $1 million debt? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You know, I've heard of people falling in for things like this before.
Yeah, it happens.
Oh, did you get escorted out of Pokey's office by armed guards? Because I did.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
I did talk to Pokey's dad as well, though.
He's really enjoying this new high life.
Yeah. He, I guess Pokey is taking care of him, despite the fact that we saw his dad beat Pokey in the very beginning of the game.
Well, you know, it's a hard situation that we probably shouldn't delve into on this comedic podcast.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so we get to watch another Runaway Five performance, and I hate this.
It's really long and it's really boring.
Yes.
It's pretty faithful to like one of the acts in the Blues Brothers, though.
Is it?
It is, yeah, with the way that they dance around the stage and run around the spotlights.
No, I
and
definitely
stuff.
Now-
put the game down and walked away. I did not give a shit about this.
Someone told me there was the reason that there was 6 is that the impresario was on stage, but that's not true. I watched this one again. All 6 of them are playing instruments.
Yes, they are.
So what?
What's wrong with having 6 people play an instrument?
It's the Runaway Five, Matthew.
Yeah, they're 5 people.
You're right.
Maybe it's just a joke. Like, that's kind of a funny joke. Like, we're the Runaway Five. And then you're like, but there's 6 of you. And they're
Is
like,
it
yeah,
like
it's
how
just the name.
the Ben Folds 5 has 3 people in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Or
how
Ted
Maroon-
Leo and the pharmacist does not have any pharmacists in
Yeah.
it.
Or how Maroon 5 is just Adam Levine.
Oh, is it?
No, probably not.
There's a
don't know.
band.
Oh, okay.
Or how Rob Zombie is not a member of the Undead.
Or, yeah.
Oh,
Or John
Or-
Cougar Mellencamp is a human and not a cougar.
right.
Or how Madonna isn't the mother of Christ.
So, back to the so they say that we need to help them in order for us to meet Monotoli, and they can't explain why.
Yeah.
They just sort of drop that we need to help them. And yeah, so I guess what we end up doing is just figuring out how to make money, and the only lead we have on lots of cash is those miners.
Yeah, and then the theater manager says, "There's no way you'll be able to repay me unless you find some buried gold." Ho, 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 ho.
So we head
And
back
we know where to find that.
to the mines.
the
And
mines.
I enjoy the mole bosses. They made me laugh.
Yeah, my favorite was number 3.
That's the joke.
Yeah, I
get
think
it.
number 3 is the well, he's the third strongest, but he's still pretty tough boss.
Yeah, I was surprised, and I got a little agitated
Hello?
because I'm like, man, if this guy's the
Am I
third
disconnecting?
strongest, how's
me
the 5th
turn off my
strongest going to
video.
be? But turns out the 5th strongest wasn't that much stronger than the 3rd strongest.
Uh-uh.
I'll be right back.
Bye! Now it's just me and Jim. Time to talk about life.
You know, I was reading a fact about this before I entered the gold mine so that I knew what I was getting into, and they said this was one of the hardest dungeons in the game. Do you agree with that statement?
I agree that that's what the fact said because I read it as well, but I did not find it to be particularly hard.
I didn't either, but I'm using the power of Andraste.
Yeah, I'm kind of finding this whole game to be a little bit difficult. I think just because it takes some micromanaging, you know? Unless
What do you
you're
mean?
just playing it. Like, the characters tend to lose hit points really quickly. And
Oh,
if you're
yeah,
not
for
paying
sure.
attention, then you can wind up dead. But I do like that when you die, it just pops you back to wherever you saved, and then you can move on and have that sweet EXP.
So we defeat all of the monsters, all of the mole men in the mine, and then we go talk to the miner, and he said, "Hey, it's gonna take me some time. Why don't you go back to town, and I'll give you whatever we find." And he stops you in his tractor
Yeah.
on the way back.
I was on
and
the
jumps
bus,
out.
and he like rolls up in his tractor, and he's like, "Word!"
Yeah, he's like, "We didn't find any gold, but here's a diamond that we found." Mm-hmm. And so you have a diamond.
And we take it to the theater manager, and she is very excited. Between you and me, I think this diamond might be worth more than $1 million.
Well, the theater manager tells you it's only worth $50.
Yeah. But her eyes are shining, and she's going, ho, 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 ho.
Yeah.
And then
Sounds like a
she,
Sailor Moon character.
yeah. She, quote unquote, reluctantly agrees to accept it in lieu of the $1 million.
And what do you know? The invisible. What even happens? Or do they leave at this point?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they all
they come
come
in
in
and say
and
thank
thank
you,
you
right?
again.
But you don't leave with them as you left with the other people. I mean, as you left with them last time.
No, they just take off.
Yeah, they just leave.
John, did
I'm
you
guess-
want an opportunity to say something about the mole men?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. Okay. I don't know if I have anything interesting to say. Oh, well, did you explain the joke about the mole men?
No, we glossed over it.
So the joke is they are all the third strongest mole man, and they all have the number 3 in the background when you fight them. And I don't know, that just made me laugh. I just like
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
When
The
you meet them,
absurdity.
they're like, I'm the third strongest. There are 5 of us.
Yep. And they're all the third strongest.
I feel like there's a story there, like they're siblings and they were always fighting about who the strongest was, and then their mom was like, you're all equally strong, and they're like, oh, we're all the strongest, and they're like, no, if we're all equally strong, then we're all in the middle, so we're all the third strongest.
And none of them are particularly strong, because you can buy some like bottle rockets from a dude in the desert that just kills them, like in 2 hits. I was just taking out these moles left and right.
So what happens after we
Hey,
free
guys,
the
hey,
what?
they see me moling.
No,
Eh?
Oh.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have stopped for that.
Oh, no.
So what happens after we free the Runaway Five from their indentured servitude?
I mean, I
Well,
just
we
went straight to the department store. Did somebody tell you it's open, I guess?
Yeah. Yeah, they say, hey,
Oh, that's right.
by the way, the department store is open. And,
Yes,
wow, what a department store.
It's like
it's got
5
3
stories.
levels.
It's got some toys. It's got food.
It's got a bakery.
Delicious.
It's
Sports
got
area.
everything. Yeah.
It's also got a Lovecraftian monster inside of it.
Well, that's only because when you get to the top floor and then try to head down again, Paula gets abducted by a Lovecraftian monster.
Oh, no.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was a little bit unpleasant.
Why Paula always getting abducted?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Do you blame Paula or society?
No, I blame the writers.
Oh.
Like, why don't you abduct stupid Jeff?
yeah, abduct that nerd.
Yeah. He'll probably like it. He'll be like, oh, what a fascinating experience.
Yeah, Paula is pretty. Yeah, I mean, especially once you get her leveled up, she's pretty deadly. She's got all these like attack spells. She's like a Lulu, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for her to be abducted. She could just like blast people from orbit.
Yeah.
Although, so she gets abducted, and you're told to go to the office on the top floor, and on the way you have to fight a bunch of like, like possess department store merchandise items.
I kept
Yeah.
getting Jeff killed and then having to leave and heal him and come back, and he'd just die instantly in the next fight where they did like a psi blast or something that just kills Jeff. And so I had to do this whole thing without Jeff. It was pretty bad.
These were the fact that I was reading said that these were some of the most difficult enemies in the game.
And you can kind of cheese them by like getting them stuck on stuff. And if you have, I think, a cup of life noodles, you can bring Jeff back. But I used that right away, and then he died again. So
I had the same thing. I had a difficult time getting through here.
real talk. This is for your John notebook, which I know isn't as filled out as your Vanessa notebook. One of my recurring nightmares is being stuck in large department stores or malls with the lights out.
Ooh, fascinating.
One of my
Why?
I don't know. I just find it terrifying being like big, empty, like places that are normally filled with people, but it's all dark. I just find that super creepy.
You know, there's a Stephen Sondheim made-for-TV musical about just that occurrence.
Oh, is it called Chopping Mall?
I forget what it's called. It only aired on TV, and it's about people who live in this department store because they got left there or something like that, and then they only come out at night, and it's very obscure, but one of the songs from it became this big audition song. So a lot of singers will sing that. Other than that, that's all I know. That's all I have
John,
to
that
say.
was a sick-ass Chopping Mall reference.
So, yeah, I legitimately find that terrifying. So I was just running through here trying to avoid. And what I like is the enemies look like gifts when they come at you. It's pretty funny. They look like the packages that Vanessa stole from those children in the last episode.
That's right, I did. Update. The musical is called Evening Primrose.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound
aired
good.
on ABC in 1966.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was well before I was born. Even I. So we get to the top, and this is the one where you get to the manager's office, and he's a spookum. He's an alien, not a spookum. He's a slime monster.
Is he?
Nope,
Yeah, he
not a
has
slime
he has
monster.
like tentacles.
He's like a
Gross.
space mutant from The Simpsons.
Yes, yeah. What are those guys' names?
Space mutant?
Klergen Blur?
Oh, Kang and Kodos?
Yes.
Kang and Kodos. Yes, thank you.
God, duh. And what's the other guy? Cyrac the Preparer? The one who's voiced by Darth Vader? James Earl Jones?
No, I don't know.
Something like that.
Nobody knows what you're talking about, John. Yeah, boy. Here comes six emails about how everybody knows what John's talking about.
Yep, we're gonna get a bunch of them.
Save it, listeners. Jeez.
So this alien, I steamrolled as well. I guess because I kept
He
dying.
was pretty easy.
Yeah. But he's a jerk.
What does he tell you that he goes on about?
Well, Paula's not there.
Right.
So you can't get her. And all he says after you defeat him is Monotoli. But that's a clue.
Yeah, so if you go, but you still can't get into the Monotoli building.
Well, you can't get into that second elevator because I went
Right.
there right away, and it just didn't work. But you can go to the cafe, where things get
Monorail.
real interesting.
Is Vanessa still here?
I'm thinking about Evening Primrose. Did you know that Anthony, what's his name?
Wiener?
The psycho bro?
Michael Hall.
No, what's his name? He's great. He was in Psycho.
Robbins? No.
His name is Anthony Perkins.
Perkins, that's it.
Yeah, he starred in Evening Primrose.
Oh. So going to the cafe is weird because someone tells you about there's a secret passage that they accidentally got caught in when they're trying to find the bathroom.
Yeah, they say there's a secret passage behind the bar, and you can go in and look around, but you can't find anything, I think. But then you go outside, and your old pal Everdread from, what?
Tucson,
It's
right?
from Tucson, yeah.
Tucson, which is called the missionary position, jeez.
Yeah.
So, missionary...
Vanilla.
What does he... Why is Everdread there? This is the guy that jumped off the building and assaulted us.
Now,
Yeah.
they don't really say what... I think this is one of those localization things, and maybe if you go on the Facebook group, Brian Pitt might be able to shed some light on what happened here, because I think they had to censor themselves a bit. He either got pushed off the building or stabbed or something, because he is lying in the alley... And you have to bribe a kid to get out of the way so you can talk to this guy.
Yeah, this Pigpen kid.
Yeah, I love those Pigpen kids. And I don't know. What do you think happened to him?
I read it as he got stabbed, but I couldn't tell you why.
I thought
It
he
just seemed
jumped
like
off
a
the building.
I thought he got
because
pushed.
he was like bleeding in an alley, and that to me like, oh, he got stabbed.
I think they talk about him falling, though, don't they? Or
Yeah.
did I just make that up?
Oh, well, you hear a big crash or something, right?
Right. I think he got pushed. And he says Monotoli offed him because he knew too much about this statue that he sold him. If you remember, he was going back to, was it Liar Exaggerate?
Liar exaggerate.
Oh, that's the guy
From the
in
very
in
first
outside
town.
of Onet, right?
Yeah. And he's the one who unearthed the Manny Manny statue
That's right.
that he really wanted to show us in his basement.
With our shirts off.
With our shirts off.
Because it's really hot down there.
Yeah. And so Everdred was like last time we talked to him, he said, "Oh yeah, I'm really interested in this Manny Manny statue." So he went back to grab that, and that was also what was behind Mr. Carpainter. Remember that was helping him shoot lightning.
Oh, right, yeah.
So this Manny Manny statue seems to be bad news.
Yeah.
It's like turning people evil, like a Needful Things kind of situation.
Ooh, I love Needful Things.
That is a great. Actually, I think the movie might be better than the book.
They're both good.
I think
Yes.
that there are a few Stephen King, based on a short story by Stephen King movies that are better than the source material.
Well, it was like Vincent Price's last movie, right?
Shawshank Redemption. I mean,
Needful Things isn't a short story, though. It's a
Yeah, it was a
chunky
full book.
is
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Very,
Sorry,
very
I'm not
long.
a Kingophile like you guys.
I quite like the works of Stephen King. I am not ashamed to say so.
You should be.
Nah.
I think he tells very good stories with mostly not very good dialogue.
Fun fact: did you know that Matthew, right after learning to drive, hit Stephen King with his van
That's true.
to try and teach Stephen King a lesson?
True.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, really,
And
I was
his
looking
writing
for
was
Dean
never the
Koontz
same.
because at least Dean Koontz wrote fun books.
Whoa, Stephen King hates Dean
I
Koontz.
don't care.
Really?
Yeah, if you in the original It movie that Stephen King, had a hand in writing, the name of the really bad guard in the insane asylum where the grown-up like deviant kid is, the really violent guard, his name is Koontz.
Why does that make you think? Like, why would an homage to another writer make you think that he hates him?
Because they made it seem like he's the bad. I think there was even dialogue.
isn't
He's
that
the
the point?
bad one.
Anyway, let's get.
He
How
writes
does he
books
feel-
and they're just garbage.
Yeah. Have you read that guard's fiction?
God.
It's trash.
How does he feel about John Grisham?
Well,
Actually, in his book on writing, where he talks about the craft of writing, he talks very positively about John Grisham because they have the same agent, I believe, or editor, maybe.
I read an interview once with John Grisham, and he was like, "Yeah, I just kind of write the same book over and over, but that's what people want, so that's what I give them." And I was like, I can admire that.
There's
you
a lot
know?
of them that have realized that.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I'm sure that you're all familiar with the mystery writers that have like 38 fucking books that are just their one character that they created.
yeah.
Who's the one that does it? Grafton, Sue Grafton, that does like the A is for alibi.
Yeah.
M is for murder.
And she went so long that she went through the whole alphabet and then started doing numbers.
How many numbers are there?
I don't know,
do you
John.
know?
She might have written like
John, it's
100
unlimited.
books.
Yeah, yeah.
She might have written like
You
100
can-
books at this point.
I think John just meant how many numbers are there in general.
Oh,
Exactly.
John, get this. Take an
Yeah.
There's
8.
at least 12.
I can tell you
Yeah.
that you take an 8. Now turn it sideways. What does that say, John?
Ooh.
Kind of. Yeah, actually, that's good.
All right, let's go.
Do you think she wrote a book for Pi?
Probably.
So, where are
he
we?
tells he tells us that Monotoli was going back in the cafe or something. I think that's how you get in there.
Yeah, some shit happens. You talk to the guy, and
Oh,
then
and he
you
also
go,
he says he's gonna wander off and die.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then he seems fine.
No, I think he's really dead. I think they've mentioned that he's you died later.
That's terrible. I guess I was just lying to myself.
It's like, did you ever see that Game Night movie?
Yes.
It was a scene in the trailer where the lady's like going like, yes, because someone got sucked into a jet engine. And then she's like, oh no, he died. That's what Vanessa's doing.
What's her name? Kristen Bell?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
you're right. Who is the female protagonist in that one? It's whatever. Let's move on. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's not me.
So Vanessa, what happens when you go back in the cafe?
Oh, golly, John. So you find this lever behind the bar, and believe it or not, you flip it, and suddenly you're in, like, Neonville. Everything is black with just, like, neon outlines in it,
This
and
is
there are people
fucking
there.
great.
And they're like, welcome to Moonville.
It looks like a Sinclair games from England. Like, you know how England had terrible video games in the 80s? They pretend are good. It looks like those.
They pretend they're
I
good.
don't know. What are you talking about? And it's Moonside,
ZX Spectrum.
not Moonville.
Oh, yeah,
So, all right.
Moonside.
Let's
And
just, I'm going to try to break
Moonside-
this down, guys. Moonside. Moonside
I
is a
was breaking
crazy
it down.
neon city where
Breaking it down.
you
Yeah,
walk around
Vanessa was breaking down.
and talk to
Breaking it down.
the NPCs, and some of them look like muscle dudes, like blonde-haired, like Arnold's, right? There's a bunch of Schwarzeneggers, like rad dudes, and
there's
they
some
will
Mr.
say
T's.
like hello, goodbye, and then when they say goodbye, they teleport you across the map.
And also, it's like Bizarro World because yes means no and no means yes. And what is
Yeah.
happening?
So you have to circle around through all these warpy guys, and you'll get to a point where some guy will tell you, like, oh, I can't let you past here. You have to have the man with, like, a missing tooth and an eye patch and a funny hat or
And a
some
mustache.
shit. And a mustache. And you're like, okay, and circle around for a while. Eventually...
Wait. Now, I want to get to Vanessa's take on this because she was stuck here for hours.
Oh,
I was
is this
stuck
where you were
here
stuck?
for hours.
Oh,
yes.
Nessa, no.
I didn't know what to do. And I
Nessica?
kept, like, talking to different people, and they're like, I'll warp you. And I looked at the FAQ, and it was just like, talk to the guy who warps you. But there are lots of them, and I was so lost and stuck, and I couldn't find my way.
There's one, I think it's a Mr. T maybe, that warps you inside a building, and inside that building is a guy, an invisible man you have to
Yeah.
talk to.
I talked to him, and he's like, can you see me? And I was like, no, because no means yes in Moonside. It's a puzzle, John.
Yay!
And then I talked to the other guy in there, and he's like, "You looking for a door? You won't find one here. Goodbye." And then finally, you can go to the guy who was blocking the path, and he's like, "Oh, Mr. Goldtooth Unibrows here. Please, right this way."
Do they say unibrow or do they say like connected eyebrow?
Yeah,
Yeah, they say
it's
connected
connected
eyebrow.
eyebrows.
They don't seem
Yeah.
to know that there's a term for that.
No,
That
I
is-
just thought that was a funny way to phrase it as connected eyebrow.
I used to have that, but I think I shaved it so often that it just doesn't grow back anymore. It's really
I
weird.
still have to shave mine.
Oh, really? I've never had that problem. I have very small eyebrows.
Those are so well defined
Thank you.
and contoured.
Yeah,
I actually
Matt,
got,
your
I guess,
eyebrows
accused
are stunning.
once. This is a real story. I got accused once by a roommate of like plucking my eyebrows because she was like, "They're always so like perfect," and she's like, "And you're all like red and spotty," and I was like, "That's just because I'm fat and it's hot."
I miss
To this day, this woman
having-
believes that I pluck my eyebrows regularly. Like she's convinced from this one interaction.
I have to trim them because I'm English, and English men start after like age 35 start getting wild,
Oh, yeah.
crazy eyebrows.
Oh yeah, the super long hairs.
Yeah,
I pluck my eyebrows, and I'm not ashamed to say so.
I don't think anybody should be ashamed to say so. I just think it's funny that there's somebody that is very convinced that I do. Because obviously I have perfect eyebrows.
Not to brag.
Anyway, so Moonside. It's a weird little maze, but it's really fun and it looks neat. I loved it. Vanessa hated it.
I hated it. I was so lost.
But you
and
finally get
trapped.
to the Manny statue, and you have to, like, fight it.
It's kind of like a big Oscar.
Yeah.
And
Oscar Isaac.
yes, a big Oscar Isaac.
Oh, so like a 5'8" Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, with the mustache from Sucker Punch.
Oh no! You know what? I'll take it.
And just eyes so blue and clear you can swim in them.
Does he have blue eyes or are they brown?
They were blue in Sucker Punch. I don't know if that was it might have been contacts.
John, did you see the teaser trailer? And he's dressed like Nathan Drake, and he's like driving this floaty pod. Oh, it's so dreamy. He is dressed like Nathan Drake, though. Like, if you look at a still of Poe Dameron from the teaser trailer and Nathan Drake, they are in the exact same outfit.
Yeah, I thought that was an Uncharted movie still when I saw it that morning. That's why I didn't
thought
think...
that the Star Wars teaser trailer was an
Well,
Uncharted
no, someone
movie.
was posting a still, and I thought, oh, that must be a new Uncharted movie.
Oh, I see.
Because I didn't register that there was a trailer until after you started going. Because I don't usually look at the chat, the group chat we have until I'm on the bus to work, and that's already like 11 something.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so the Manny statue is it's not a tough fight. You can blow that thing apart, and it just disintegrates. And as soon as you do that, you end up back in. I guess the whole time you're in this warehouse, like all that Moonside stuff was just an illusion.
Yeah, there's a
From the
little
Mani
mouse. Yeah, the mouse explains to you, oh yeah, you were just wandering around in this basement with a weird expression on your face.
Oh, that's sort of like well, never mind. But Jim knows what I'm talking about. Don't you, Jim?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. And, so you've destroyed the evil that was corrupting. Oh, did you notice? There's one thing I loved in Foresight. Everyone talks about how the police are corrupted and under the control of Monotoli. Like, he runs the cops. He runs this town. Like, this game is very anti-cops.
Did you talk to any of the police officers in Foresight?
No. What do they say?
One of them says, yeah, my job is to protect Monotoli and then I guess protect the townspeople.
Well, this is a stunning rebuke of our nation's over-reliance on law enforcement. And by our nation, I mean your nation.
My American nation?
And so after the statue's gone, like, it's kind of broken the curse. But oh, this is great. So you step outside the cafe, and first of all, you get a call from Apple Kid. And Apple Kid's like, hey, I'm sending you a package with a trout ice cream maker.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a whole bunch of other flavors, but couldn't figure out how. So you're just getting trout.
Why is Apple Kid sending this to us?
I don't know. And then the second thing you get is the monkey from the, not Bubble Monkey, a monkey from the temple runs by. And he's like, oh, hey, buddies. I just wanted to tell you that the Talorama wants to talk to you. And he's going to show you how to teleport. And he tries to do it, but then runs into a building. And every time you try to teleport and run into a building, you just end up covered in soot.
Yeah, he looks really damaged, and he definitely can't teleport, and so he just leaves.
Yeah. And then the third person that comes up to you is a delivery man who is sketchy. And it's like, wait, is that right?
Yeah, I think it's the delivery man comes, and no, first
yeah,
it's the maid.
This time, because last time it was the Italian one who just said he'll give it to whoever.
Right.
This time it was like, hey, I dropped it in the desert. So you're not getting your dumb machine. You go find it. And then the fourth person to talk to you in a row is the secretary of Mr. Monotoli, who's like,
Monorail.
You know someone who can make trout flavored ice cream, because that is Mr. Monotoli's favorite. If you could find that, please bring it to my office in the Monotoli building.
What a coinky dink.
This game is so
That's
dumb.
just where we need to go. Because we still don't have Paula's still not in the party. She's long gone.
Yeah.
I know. It's terrible.
So this is, I think, actually pretty quick. A monkey shows up and tells you that you have to talk to the Talarama, who we discussed earlier.
We
We already talked about
did you?
that. Matthew.
So then you go to the monkey maze.
Yay!
Monkey Maze.
This is the worst
weird.
part of the game.
Is it? It's not hard.
It's not hard, but you have such limited inventory, and you
Yeah.
have to have all these specific items.
I dumped a bunch of
Oh,
stuff on
yeah.
Esco on the delivery thing. I dumped a bunch of stuff on it before I started this because I could tell. Once I got in there and I had to go back and like buy like a hamburger, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make some space.
So the one thing is that I had all the food stuff, and I didn't have the fresh egg, but I fought an enemy. There's this mole that ran at me, I think, right outside the entrance, and it happened to give me a fresh egg, and you only have like 5 minutes before the egg hatches. So I did that dungeon and got the egg to the dude so I could get the neutralizer.
There's an enemy in the dungeon that okay. There's an enemy in the dungeon that will like lay an egg, and you can take it and get there. All right.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we'll do that.
Monkey Maze.
Monkey
So the gist of the
maze.
Monkey Maze, because we didn't explain it, is that
No.
it's a pretty short level where you walk through a cavern, through a room, and then you go into another room, and there's two monkeys guarding doors, and each one wants something. You give them whatever they want: a hamburger, a pizza, an egg, a bunch of other stuff, and they'll move. But behind each of them is inevitably another set of monkeys who have another set of requests. So there's probably 10, I think.
One wants a king banana.
Yeah, and a lot of them will give you the things that you need, or you'll find them in chests in the dungeon. So it works out pretty well. But the whole point of this, eventually you make it to the Talarama, and he teaches you.
Except the game's like, because you had to clear out your inventory to get all these items, but then right at the end, it's like there's a pencil to be erased.
Yes.
So if you did not have that pencil eraser in your
What
dumb
a
inventory, you have to
bunch
go
of
all the way
bullshit.
out, call
See, now-
the delivery service, get it delivered to you,
Because
and go back.
I use the power of Andraste, all the going in and out is not hard, because them monsters scared of me.
Oh, that's good. No, they were still fighting me, I think. Oh, because I didn't have the power of Andraste, that's why. So, yeah, they that was kind of a tricky dungeon. But yeah, the Talarama, first of all, gives you the trout ice cream maker, which is very nice of him. And he also teaches you how to teleport, which is finally useful. But I'm using the starman.net guide. And it's like, don't go back to early towns because they'll be full of super impossible monsters.
Oh, I didn't know.
I won't have that problem, I bet. Now I'm curious. Power of Andraste. So anyway, you learn to teleport, which is cool. You have to have like a good space, like you have to have about a screen and a half of open space in front of you, because you select it out of your psychic power menu, and it kind of auto runs the character about a screen and a half forward. And if there's anything in the way, he'll bounce off of it, and you'll have to find a new spot.
This game does like to really mess with you. So now we can go. The next, who is it? Oh, someone says there might be something that you can go back to in Threed and fix up something you left there. I think that's what the Talarama says. And then the Runaway Five offer to give you a lift to Threed, even though you can warp there. I don't know why you need to get on their bus, but I went on their bus anyways.
Well, I don't think that's part of the... Oh, you did. You returned to Threed and repair the Skyrunner. Oh, that's right. Yes, you're right. You return to Threed, and you have to go find the hole where... what's the character's real name? Jeff?
Jeff?
Yeah.
You find the hole where Jeff crashed into the graveyard prison, and Jeff is able to repair the Skyrunner.
Yeah.
Because you're starting to get hints that you have to go to a place called Summers, I think.
Yeah, but you can't get there without reprogramming the Skyrunner, which is a little beyond Jeff's ability. So he needs to go see Dr. Andonuts.
His dad.
So
His
is it
horrible dad?
Donuts? It's and donuts, right? Like
Oh.
haha and donuts. That must be what
What?
it is.
Maybe his first name is like Coffee or something.
Yeah, that would make sense. Like Dr. Coffee and Donuts. Ha 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 ha. You know what, John? That's a great point, and I bet that'll be like a gag that gets pulled out later in the game. Maybe. Anyway, so you take the Skyrunner back to see Jeff's dad, who is still just an absolute fucking shitball to you. God.
Yeah. Then he suggests, why don't you go check out that dungeon? Wasn't there somewhere you didn't go before? And you can go back there. There's a boss who you were there as Jeff before, and you couldn't fight him. He wouldn't let you fight him because he's guarding stuff for Ness. And this boss is Shroom.
A sanctuary. He's guarding a sanctuary where you're going to go collect the song or whatever the fuck it is you do.
From the Soundstone. So you fight Shroom. You go in there. There's a rainy circle. It is indeed raining. And you get that song programmed into your little Zune or whatever it is.
So then you go back to Dr. Andonuts, and he's reprogrammed the Skyrunner again, and you're able to take it to Summers. I'm not sure where this is supposed to be yet. And it's pretty cool. It's like a beach, mostly. It's a big town with a big beach. And you're able to kind of just wander around and do your thing. There's new stuff to buy. You can explore. It's all right.
It's like the Côte d'Ivoire or something. It's like the French coast, the French what's that place called?
I don't know.
There's the French Riviera.
Yes.
And the Italian Riviera. It's like one of them places. And there's a boat captain, but he's like, I could get you because I guess we need to go to
Summers.
We're in Summers, but we need to cross the ocean to go to Scaraba.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right.
Or across the Mediterranean. And
So
this guy's
anyway,
like, I can boat you across, but my wife, she's not making magic cakes anymore. She's just boring and always spending her time at this club.
Club Stoic?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is funny. This is cool. So basically the puzzle to this is you have to walk around and talk to people until somebody gives you the number to this club. If you try to walk up to it, they tell you you're closed. But if somebody gives you the number, which inevitably happens, you can go to a phone, you can call the club and make a reservation, and then from that point, whenever you feel like going in, you can go in, which I thought was pretty clever.
And this is a harsh takedown of philosophers.
Yeah.
Take that, philosophers.
Yeah,
Like,
they
there's
got a rock on the stage that they just look at.
Yep. And there's one guy's like, can't you picture the fall of capitalism, man?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, too. There's a lot of, like, anti-capitalism stuff that I'm like, wow, this really holds up, huh? It does.
This game, it does. This game is weird hatred of cops and capitalism is very 2019.
Is The Rock meant to be a rock show, like, oh, let's go to the rock show?
I don't know. This kind of reminds me of like, what's his face? The guy who would like, I'm trying to remember what his name was. He was a Greek philosopher, and he was making fun of the other philosophers. So he'd just like show up to the steps of the Parthenon or whatever and just bark like a dog. You know who I'm talking about?
No.
I don't, but that guy sounds pretty punk rock.
Yeah, I'll look for him the next time I play Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I'm sure he's around somewhere.
Vanessa, are you excited about Assassin's Creed? I don't know what the next one's called. Didn't they announce it? What is it?
Vikings?
No, is it Viking?
I heard that.
Oh, Diogenes the Cynic. That's it. He was the one who was like, thought philosophers were just wasting time and kind of mocked them by barking like a dog.
And yet he was a philosopher himself.
Yeah. Or something like that. I don't know. It's weird. He's a cynic.
I'm an optimist.
Oh, that's good. Vanessa to Diogenes, get bent.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what I heard was that the next Assassin's Creed game will be Vikings of some sort.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's
God.
what I feel too. And
Yeah, it feels done at this point. Vikings.
Yeah. And I mean, I have a lot of Northern European heritage. It is the bulk of my genetic makeup. But, I don't know, Vikings. And then, like, I just, like, feel like the Odinists are going to be like, finally a game for us. I hate that.
Anyway. So, well, you go to you find his wife, this guy, this boat captain's wife, in the club, and you're like, "Hey, could you make some cake?" And she's like, "You came all the way here just for some of my magic cake?"
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess I can make some for you.
Yeah,
And
she's
then
flattered.
she doses these children with a LSD.
Yeah, she drugs the kids.
Yeah, that
She
seems
does.
to be the case.
And
Are there any good adults in this game?
no,
Mm-mm.
not really.
What
Like
about Everdred?
not Everdred. He's kind of scummy.
What about the secretary who gives you the tapioca pudding or whatever?
Oh,
it is?
did we talk? We kind of skipped over that, didn't we? Oh, we
Yeah.
totally did. Right, because we got to get Paula back. So, real quick, we go back and take the special elevator up to the 40 whatever floor, the top of the building. There's robots everywhere. We destroy these robots. We get to this big robot. Well, actually, it was a little buddy. He was like a little guy, but he's cute.
Yeah, but
And
he's
you
tough.
You destroy that robot, and then Mr. Monotoli's there with Paula, and Paula's got like this real case of Stockholm syndrome. She's like, "Oh, don't worry about Mr. Monotoli. He's not so bad, and really he's powerless ever since the Manny statue got blown up."
I mean, we all know why that is, though, right? He just gave her the speech. He was like, I've sold monorails to Brockway, Ogdenville, and North Haverbrook, and by gum, it put them on the map. Well, sir, there's nothing on earth like a genuine bona fide electrified 6-car monorail.
Oh no!
We're just gonna do the whole thing.
Yeah, let's just do the whole goddamn episode.
Can we just do the Magic Man instead? Anyway, so Mr. Monotoli is
Will you get it fucking right, John?
Mr. Monotoli.
What is his
Mr.
name, John?
Monorail. Mr. Monorail
Thank you, John. Jesus.
That's,
is there.
he's got a one-track mind.
Paula has forgiven him for everything, and he's like, "Okay, well, you need to go to Summers. You just go take you need to get to Scarabia for some reason. Go. I think that's like he's talking about Pokey. Kind of was guiding him. So Pokey's like I think Gygas is controlling Pokey.
Wait, why are we talking about Monotoli? Aren't we, like, well past that?
We
Yeah,
forgot.
but you
Skyrunner.
forgot. You
we
forgot
backtracked a
to
little
talk
bit.
about him.
Yeah. So
Jesus fucking
Pokey
Christ.
is being controlled by Gygas. We need to get to Summers and then to get to Scaraba. And he gives us his helicopter. So we go out to use his helicopter, and Pokey's like, "Psych! I'm already in it, buddy! Later, dweebs!"
Ooh, I've got this helicopter.
You make him sound like Macho Man.
Yeah.
It's very much.
That's
It's like the scene from Winter Soldier where Captain America grabs the the helicopter, and then is like holding on to the roof with one hand and the helicopter with the other hand. Like they
Such a good
recreate
scene.
that essentially. Oh, it's so good. The only issue I have with it, and I don't want to like be ungrateful for what I have, because
Yeah.
he does have very short sleeves on.
yes.
But he like his shirt could have just fallen off.
He should have
like, it
popped
would have
that
been
shirt
fine.
off. Yes, I agree with you.
Should have
Like-
ripped like the Hulk.
Or
Yeah.
maybe like he the first thing he tries is like throwing his shirt at the helicopter, and that doesn't work.
I mean, clearly it should have gotten ripped off in the previous fight scene.
Yeah, just like just rip it off.
You handsome. Anyway, that's it, right? We eat the magic cake, and we go to sleep.
We go night-night.
And we
Yeah,
wake up.
that's it.
And have an out-of-body experience, but we're going to talk about that next time.
In the next episode.
Oh,
of the Primrose
boy.
Podcast.
We're gonna
John,
finally.
I believe you have a bullshit minigame corner.
We do, and I can't quite figure it out because there's those brothers, right? They are the brothers. They're dressed like mariachi. You know who I'm talking about? The slot machine
but
brothers.
You're getting close to being very racist, so I'm going to ask you to dial it back.
Each one is holding like a different slot machine thing, like the cherries or the lemon or a lime or the number 7, and depending on what direction they're facing, they're holding a different card up. And there's some kind of way of cheating. I think like by getting them into the right position, by talking to them before you pull the lever, you can get them to do 777. But I haven't done it yet. So I don't know. Have any of you tried this?
No.
They're like, if you go to the drugstore in the desert, they are left of that. You drove past them in the bus.
Yeah, I have seen them, but I always have a full inventory, so I have not played their slot machine.
Oh, you gotta put some stuff away with your sister at the Escargot Express.
Don't tell me what to do with my sister.
Okay, I'm sorry. And that's it for the minigame corner, unless you consider
Good
the
one.
We did
the monkey
it.
stuff.
We did it.
Next time,
Did it.
we'll play until you get the submarine.
Ooh. What are you guys squarely against?
I'll go first. I am roundly for Moonside. It's a weird, real bonkers, sideways thing to happen in this game, but I really enjoyed it.
What was the painting in Moonside? One of the ones you're fighting?
That's right. I was obsessed with this.
It was like eggs, 3 eggs or something.
It was moons. Hang on.
3 moons.
Hang on.
Was it 3 wolves howling at the moon?
Here we go. I can't remember what it's called. It is 3 moons. What was it called?
Evil painting.
Oh, it's called abstract art. And it is a framed picture of a moon and a moon. They look like snowmen, but they're clearly moons with a moon in the background.
Oh, this was amazing. It's like 2 best buds looking at the moon, but
Yeah.
one is like a banana head and the other's like a snowman.
Yeah, but they're not. It's like a crescent moon and a full moon with a crescent moon in the sky above them. I think that they're like fighting. Oh no, they're like holding hands. It's delightful.
Yeah.
The enemies in this game are legit like super creative and super fun, and I love them.
There were also fire hydrants, like angry fire hydrants, angry gas pumps. There was a dolly clock. Like
Yep.
it's called Dolly Clock, and it's a clock from Salvador Dali painting.
Why, hello, Dolly.
I liked the dolly clocks. That was clever. You know what we didn't talk about? We didn't talk about how Jeff wets his bed all the time, apparently.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
They mentioned that a few times in the game.
But they also, like,
mention it constantly.
there was 2 more mentions of this chunker, because I think Mr. Monotoli talks about how when you defeated the robot, Pokey wetted himself. And then Dr. Andonuts talks about how Jeff wets his bed.
And don't we get a phone call from Jeff's boyfriend Tony at one point?
Oh, right. Yes. That's very important. Because he wants... Okay, so he calls. You be you be Ness, and I'll be Tony.
Okay.
Okay, so you get a ring, ring, ring.
Hello?
Hi. Who am I talking to here exactly?
Hi, this is Ness.
No, I mean who's holding the controller. I need to know your name.
You mean like the phone? It's me,
no,
Ness, with my
the
baseball.
control. Tell me who is put your name in. Check the spelling. I need to know this.
I'm Vanessa.
Okay. Well, Vanessa, could you tell Jeff, my best friend, that Tony called? That's T. Are you writing this down?
No, I think I'll be able to get it.
Okay, Tony. Why?
Yeah, just like Tony. Got it.
Like Tony, tell him Tony called, and it's very important just to let him know that I'm thinking about him.
Okay, you want me, the player, to tell Jeff,
Yes.
the character in the game, that you,
Yes,
Tony,
exactly.
called.
Yes. And apparently, Itoy, the writer of this, has confirmed that he intended Tony to be like in love with Jeff.
That's pretty adorable.
Yeah, just like a little kid crush.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there
We
you go.
did confirm, somebody did confirm via an interview with the creator or the director or whatever of the game that the Tony character is gay and does have a crush on Jeff.
That's what John just said. What are you even doing?
Oh, really? I was looking at my phone.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, who is next? John, what are you squarely against?
I'm roundly for so much death in EarthBound. Like, just Everdread just gets shanked by Monotoli. That seems pretty rough. So I'm all for that. Jim.
I'm roundly for the haunted department store. It was super fun fighting the things, and then the fact that there's a literal alien monster at the end of it is weird and awesome. Vanessa, what about you?
I'm squarely against Paula being kidnapped again. This is the second time, and if it happens one more time, boy howdy will I be steamed.
You're going to be real cheesed off. That does it for this episode. We do have a couple emails to read.
All right, guys. I got to go.
Okay.
Bye,
guess-
Matt. We love
I'll
you.
just say bye, listeners. I got to run out early. Have a good time.
All right. Hopefully these letters are not Matt focused, but it's fine. Goodbye.
All right, I'm gonna jump into this first one. It begins, hey all, I hope 2019 is treating you guys well thus far. I'm excited to continue to listen to your guys' take on EarthBound. Even revisiting this game as an adult, the first couple hours of the game are still so hard. I feel like battles are really touch and go while trying to get those early level ups. What other games do you think started with a small fan base but developed an enormous fan base many years later? Do you guys remember the giant box that EarthBound came in? The one where there was a strategy guide in it? You guys seem like sweethearts. Take care, Pete.
Aw, sweethearts.
Thanks, Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a sweetheart, Pete.
Yeah, that's right.
Enormous fan base many years on. I think Alpha Protocol is one of those games. I think that is kind of still in the midst of that, where it was very unpopular when it came out, but I think people are realizing that it did a lot of really neat stuff with like BioWare style branching story stuff and choices. And I can't wait till we get to play that one because I think it's pretty interesting.
I would say the game Beyond Good and Evil, which was
That's a good example.
I think
Excellent
it was a
example.
PlayStation 2 game, really well done, really interesting, and didn't get a lot of reception at first, but has really become to be considered a classic. And they've been trying to make a Beyond Good and Evil 2 forever.
Did you see the trailer for the last trailer they did for 2? And it was terrible.
Yeah, it's like
Where they're all swearing.
Yeah. They have no idea what direction to go in. They're trying to make it like gritty when the first one was cartoony and fun.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what is going on with that and if we'll ever even get it. But the first Beyond Good and Evil, I think, is available now on, like, you can download it and play it on some things.
You can definitely get it on like 360 and PS3. They did like an HD remake, and I wonder that might have come out on PC as well.
Oh, that's the version I played, and it's really good.
Yeah, so look for that if you haven't done it. It looks like, 360, PlayStation 3, GameCube, PlayStation 2, Windows. So if you got a computer, look for Beyond Good and Evil.
I feel like that one Amnesia game started out really small, the Dark Descent one, where it was like a really small release PC game, and then it ended up scaring so many people so viscerally that now it's like looked at as like a horror classic, so much that they released it as one of the PS Plus free games
Interesting.
last year. Yeah.
I think that one got its popularity from those like Let's Play videos, right? Like people being scared by it.
There's a ton of YouTube reaction videos of like just videos, like people recording themselves playing the game and getting scared out of their minds.
Another game like that was Skate 3, because it was so glitchy and broken, and people hated it when it first came out. But like it's become, because it's so broken, it's funny, and it became like a YouTube sensation. And they're actually making a Skate 4 because Skate 3 ended up having such a long tail and people just loving it in the end.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, and
Who
also-
wants to read the next
Did
email?
did anyone have? Because I never had the
Oh.
box. I saw it. I remember seeing a big stack of EarthBounds for like $20, and now they're worth like mint in box are worth hundreds of dollars. I kind of wish I just bought them all, but I also wish I'd bought Apple stock and stuff. It's one of those things.
Yeah, I never had it.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Vanessa, do you want to read the next one?
Sure.
Okay.
I am writing to you all after a super long shift at a restaurant that I work and tonight, but I got it into my head to thank you for such a fantastic podcast. Ever since listening to the Final Fantasy X series, I became completely addicted to the witty banter and the great cohesion you all have as a group. I listened in the car, during the downtime I have during the week, in the gym, before work,
Ooh.
and various other periods. Even my wife has enjoyed a few episodes with me.
Wow.
Even his wife, guys. Or her.
Wow.
I will be joining the Patreon this Tuesday because it is the first time that I have some actual time off. I want to do two things here. Put in a vote for one game and ask y'all to vote on my next RPG that I will play after Octopath Traveler, which I absolutely love, by the way. I would love for you guys to do Final Fantasy Tactics. We definitely will at some point. Spoiler. I know this would be an extremely long series, but the game is so worth it. Yes, we agree. We're going to do it. Second, I am deciding between Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger, EarthBound, and Final Fantasy 3/6. Please give me your input. It would be super appreciated by me to be able to play a game that, 1, you have all played, and 2, that is in the catalog of this podcast. Keep up the great work. I am truly grateful for all the effort. Sincerely and respectfully, Jordan O'Boyle.
Ooh, what a polite send-off.
Yeah. Now, I was thinking there's a few things here. One, does your wife like to play video games? Because if so, Secret of Mana, for sure.
Oh, yeah,
2 players
that's very clever.
is super fun. Does the Super Nintendo Classic come with 2 controllers?
Don't know. I don't know.
Second thought is we could because he said Final Fantasy 3/6, make him play Final Fantasy 3, which Jim and I played
Yeesh.
in the secret hidden, never released episodes of Square Roost.
Yeah, when you were trying to play bad games and we're just like, I can't.
We weren't trying to figure out how to talk to each other.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
We didn't have a rapport at all.
No, it's like, oh, and then I killed this boss. Huh. Yeah, that's cool, John. Great. We needed that Vanessa spice to really
Yeah.
make the dish work.
Vanessa Spice, available wherever groceries are sold.
So what do you think? My vote is Secret of Mana if his wife likes video games.
I am really enjoying EarthBound, and I think that if he has not played it, it's a good fun time. Just don't get trapped in Moonville or whatever the heck happened to me. But of course, Secret of Mana is one of my all-time favorites, so I would not refuse him that opportunity either.
I'm gonna lean towards Chrono Trigger, not just because it's my all-time favorite game, but because if you're looking for a not that incredibly difficult RPG that's still fun and has really good characters, that's the go-to, I think.
And Matt has gone, but I'm sure that he would recommend Parasite Eve.
No.
Oh no, Matthew would recommend Grandia.
That game broke Matthew.
Yes, it did.
And that game, like, though the camera in Grandia is so bad
Ooh,
that
yikes.
it, like, I was having rage trying to get through that.
I think my biggest rage was Rogue Galaxy, and I don't know quite why, but I'm like fond of it now in retrospect.
Well, because the story was fun, but the gameplay was terrible.
Yeah, it's the level design is so poor.
Yeah. It was like Kingdom Hearts without all the Disney.
All
right. So
All
we
right.
haven't helped you.
You have 3 and or 4 separate opinions, depending on how
Yeah.
you want to look at it.
Yeah.
All right, this is the point of the podcast where we read off the names of our patrons, because if you become a patron, it's a perk that you're entitled to.
Oh.
What are the other perks that they're entitled to, John?
Well, at $3, they get every single bonus episode we've ever done.
Ooh, so many bonus episodes.
Now, when you do your pledge on the Patreon, make sure you check which level you want, because if you don't, you won't get these episodes. Like, you can say, I'll give $3, but that's not, Patreon's dumb and won't get it. You have to be like, I sign up for this pledge level, and then you'll get it. So just be careful about that. Patreon's weird. And at the $5 level, you get to vote. Like, for this month, our voters have told us to play Hatoful Boyfriend for our Versus episode. We also had a Level Up episode last month, which was interesting. Jim, did you ever listen to that one?
I did, yeah. That was it was frustrating, and then it felt nice.
And also this week is the Dragon Age or the Dragon Age Awakenings first episode is out. Of Vanessa and Stan and I getting through this game. It's going to be one of 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
That DLC is like half a game.
Yeah, it really is.
It's crazy how big that
That is
DLC
crazy.
is. And so Jim, lead us.
Yeah, let me kick us off. Let's see. Florian Jonas Kramer, David Shook, Stu Skeel, Get John a Zangief Heated Real Doll Fund.
Oh, please.
Jake Fuzzy Pickles Dickerson, who plays Dead, Ross Disney, PJ Enns, Mishy Draws, Label Sack, Crystal Thamrin, Brian Stone, Wonder Swan, Tickles the Fancy of, Cameron Show, Rusty Kamada, Julia Zanella, Vanessa's mom, Stephen Kroc, Gregory, and Bree Girth.
Oh, there's some new names on there. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
Mishy Draws and Stephen Kroc have shown up before.
Should I just go ahead and read Matthews?
Please.
I'll read Matthews.
Yeah.
Huxley Iguana, Xavier Krieger, Megan Sullivan, George Armbruster, Kevin Mosser, Miguel Torres, Sean Walsh, Benjamin Avner, Julian Titus, Ryan Miller, Drained PP, that's a good one, Dr. Steve Stone, G. Bailey, Wendell Thaddeus Folsom Von Freaky Weird the 13th, Nathan Poirot, Justin Ham, Robert T., Owen Marble, Samu Mitchell, Tracy Tanoff, Tyler Petty, and Patrick W. Bears.
To Bumpkins, Cyril the Wolf, Ross Hartley, Andrew, Grenieri, Jonathan Lee, Eric Garby, Ward Childress, James Hostetler, Devin Sloan,
He's the Hostetler murderer.
Chris Penyak, Randy Pierce, DJ Throw, fine, say everyone's name, at least it annoys Matt, Aaron Bachman, you're tearing me apart, Kyle, James Plett, Zachary Davis, Noriko, Robert M. Polam.
Hey, Noriko. Thank you. Noriko is Ron. Is Noriko Ron?
I
think
don't know.
so. I think Noriko is Ron. All right. Let's see. We also have Race Jenkins. So racy. Andy Best is the best. Bobby Midkiff, Brian Pitt. Tom now knows the dark truth about Metal Max Returns is great. Ashley T, Jonathan Ellsworth, Brady A. Berman, Jason. Vanessa's nomination as the coolest.
Aww.
Tim, I know you're listening. I can't find my phone anywhere. Can you? Sean Gonzalez, Justin Benoit, Persona, Brody Toy, Pad Kid poured Pad Kid.
He got you.
I keep getting this one. Pad Kid poured curd pulled cod, and Jared Collins.
Pad kid poured curd pulled cod. Pad kid
Pad
poured
kid poured
curd
curd
pulled
pulled
cod.
cod.
Pad kid poured
Fine, you're
curd
better at
pulled cod.
tongue twisters than I am.
Which is ironic because I can barely speak under normal circumstances.
Jim, I was thinking I could do from the thanking the artists on this outro.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. As always, feel free to send us an email that we can read on an episode. We can be reached at squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group, for smart, cool, very attractive people. Or you can tweet at us. We are at Square Roots Pod.
Hey, thanks go to Extra Lives for their ska cover of Battle Against a Mobile Opponent. Or mobile opponent, however you want to say it. Check Extra Lives out at youtube.com/extralivesmusic. And also big thanks to Stephen Morris for his cover of Summers. This and a ton of other video game music covers are available on Stephen Morris's Spotify, iTunes, and more. Links for both Extra Lives and Stephen Morris are in the show notes. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or whatever app you use to listen to podcasts.
All right, everybody. That's it for this episode of Square Roots. Just as a reminder, we are playing to the acquisition of the submarine later.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. We'll see you next time. For Square Roots, I'm Jim Banks.
I am John Brandon.
And I'm Emperor Vanessa. Give in to your hatred, young Skywalker. I'm afraid your rebel friends won't be.
Bye.
Hard break.
Wow.
Break. Vanessa, is this picture that you posted on the Wait What? Is this 8-bit? Is that actually a scene from the movie that they're supposed to make?
Yes.
Is
yeah,
it?
No. It is a still from the teaser trailer for the 9th Star Wars movie. And as you can see, I was not just
was that Oscar
exaggerating.
Isaac?
Yes. And he is dressed exactly like Nathan Drake.
Yes, that's so funny. Okay. Sorry, I was like, wait, is this like a still from the movie? Like, does it? Okay. Who's the actor?
That's the still that I saw. That I was like, oh, that must be from an Uncharted movie.
That's funny.
It
Vanessa has
could
just
be
cracked
like
the
a
code. She
soft
just blew up the
pilot.
internet. Tweet this from the Square Root Tweet this comparison from the Square Roots Twitter so it can blow up and we can go viral.